There's a certain type of software project that fails in a particular way, and especially product managers who are not that experienced run into this very fast. Client has a certain problem and a certain legacy software that solves that problem. It's not that great, and the client says, okay, we should build a new version of that and make it better. Client contracts a development team in order to take care of that. And as the team starts developing, the client has a couple of great new ideas that they want to implement. And then the whole thing never gets finished. And there are two core concepts that I learned along the way while building dozens of software projects. And the first thing is that we need to limit the change at one point in time. And the second thing is the actual solution of that is the change stacking. We're going to get to this in the end, where I'm also going to give you a system of how to approach this. My name is Till Carlos, and I'm a product manager on the technical side, and I document how my own team gets better at shipping software. And this is especially hard for developers because developers are always excited. And granted, I'm a developer myself and I stand by this. We need to be excited. If we are not excited, we don't get any innovation done. We should always be on the lookout of new technology change in order to get better, in order to build better and faster software. However, the problem is that every new package that you bring in brings in more challenges that you haven't thought about before. And one example here is this example where I built this new Rails app from scratch. I wanted to go for SQLite 3 and I wanted to run Minitest instead of RSpec. If you don't know Ruby on Rails, it doesn't really matter. These are just packages we use for testing and for database. I knew that this would take time in order to implement. And this is why I did this on the weekend. And also my role in my company is that I make content and I teach my team how to get better and I teach them new technologies. So for me, it is time that I already allocated for that. But imagine I would have a client project and now the developer would decide just to change the database from Postgres to SQLite. And then there are challenges in terms of deployment, in terms of backups and so on. And so of course, this is not what we want when we're working on something that actually is critical and needs to get shipped fast. So usually that's happening and there are challenges we haven't seen before. Additionally, there will be training and support needed for the other developers actually working in the project. This cannot be underestimated because developers are busy. We need their time, they're scarce resources. And now you add something on top of their already tight plan and they have to learn something on top of that, which maybe it's not even necessary. But we get to that later. And then the third thing that happens is sometimes the packages don't work really well together. So especially if you do everything new, you don't know how the parts of the system work together. So let's just say you just update one thing and some other things break. So if you update a lot of things at the same time, they might break in things that are totally unpredictable. And yeah, this is what happened to me. I got out of it by just throwing time at it. And this is exactly the point of this talk, that those things take time. And I've also seen this with product managers. Product managers tend to fail in a different way because they don't know what is technically feasible and what not. So what I've seen was actually this. Product manager comes and they want to build something totally new. They want to build a totally new user experience. They want to put a new design on that. And they want a ton of new features and then also new tech stack that would allow to have graphs floating faster and navigation faster. And then of course the reality hits when the software is 6 months late. And of course that's something we want to avoid. If you're in this position, you can send me an email. I'm offering coaching now, and this is limited to 3 new clients. This is what my calendar allows right now, and I have the guarantee that I refund the money that we don't get back in terms of time saved in your software project. Send me an email if this is interesting for you. So now the solution to this whole thing is, yes, we cannot not do innovation. Like we need to do it because we need to advance, and there's new packages coming out all the time. So we need to stay on top of things. But how can we do that? The key to do this is not habit stacking. We're going to talk about this later. It is change stacking. So the first thing is infrastructure first. This is something where I have a strong opinion on, and there is another video on this where I explain why infrastructure first is super important. The rate of change is determined by, of course, the people working in a project, but also by the whole technical environment of the project. So let's say you have really bad infrastructure. Let's say it's taken a long time in order to run the tests. Then it would take a long time also to break the tests and fix them. If the whole infrastructure takes a long time to give a demo to the client, then let's say it's very hard to give the client a demo of the actual new user interface that you built. So the first thing that we need to do is get the infrastructure fast so that we can iterate and make demos fast. So then the rate of change will be faster as well. The second thing we're going to do, we need to make a map and know exactly what is the old thing we're doing and what is the new thing we're doing. So what is something where we have a lot of technical uncertainty? That's one bucket. And the other bucket is the proven technology that we know will work. Well, and then we do this. In any given iteration, we only add 20% of the new stuff. 80% is the old things, the proven technology that we know we can just grind and get done. And one example here is this YouTube channel. When I started this channel around November last year, I thought I could do everything great right now. And what happened was that I totally overcomplicated the process of making videos. I was creating slideshows just like these, but a bit different. I made them with Google spreadsheet, Google presentation. And then I also wrote a blog post for each. And then I recorded the video and I had an editor who was putting a lot of B-roll in there and making it very complicated. And I noticed that at that rate, I could maybe produce one video per week and it would be an ordeal. I would work one whole day on the slides and then I would record the other day. And the whole thing just felt totally sluggish, totally too big for the thing I wanted to do. Now, what we did, we just put this in place around 2 months before. So what we did now was we do first infrastructure. So we first make sure that the thing we're actually doing, so the iteration of one piece of content is very fast. What you see here is something called Reveal.js. It's a method to generate slides based on Markdown files. So these slides that you see here that are popping in and out, this is just a line of text. There is no design work involved. So with that method, I can now be very fast and iterate very fast on your content. So this morning I just wrote 3 new items and it was totally easy to do. And then what we do is we have a backlog of changes we want to make. So for example, next month will be content research. So research for a certain niche. This is how it actually looks like. So this is our innovation plan. Yes, we did this. Shoot daily is cool. We then produced that. Took a month in order to get right. And now the current month is niche research, and we chose the niche product managers. So product managers who are working with software projects who need more technical insights. That's what we create right now. And later on we do opt-ins and coachings and so on. And later on then we make more content challenges. We will get to that at one point. What we figured out is that 20% actually takes a long time. So, and we figured that it's this 3x rule. So something that's new takes 3 times the normal time of implementing something the old way, because we first need to make a proof of concept. Then we need to implement the whole thing, which is, let's say, the time it would take for a legacy technology also to do. And then the 3rd thing is to adapt it to the to the existing system, so that it actually works together with a system we already built. Yes, and it's just important to keep this rule in mind. Without that rule, we would be lost, because then we would think, okay, we just do it all new and it's going to take 1x time. No, it takes 3x time, so we need to plan with that. Just don't get me wrong, developers love that, and we need to hire developers who are curious and love new technology. We just need to be aware of the cost. And the solution to that is change stacking. Just like my YouTube channel, it's like habit stacking. This is being documented by this guy called Huberman, and Productive Oasis has a good blog post on it. The sequence should follow a logical order where each habit naturally leads to the next. Just like my YouTube channel, first make the content, then we produce the content. We try to get better at every point, but we only limit the change to one piece of change in any given iteration. For a software, that means the following. We build infrastructure first. That means the deployment. Then we are building out then we're mapping the areas where we actually want to use old and proven stuff and where we want to use the new stuff. And then we pick one innovation at a time. So for example, you make a demo in 2 weeks, then you make all the map of all the new things, and then you build out the database model so that the use cases work, and only then you do the innovation. One feature to the client, ship it. Change another view and make it prettier, ship it. Improve the speed of another feature, ship it, and so on. Good luck with your project.